Oh, oh, oh. They say justice blind, but we're still waiting to see. Too many questions hanging where the truth ought to be. People pick a side before the facts hit the floor. Everybody got an answer, nobody knows for sure. 3 long hours, hearts beating like a drum. Families in pain, wondering what'll come. America keeps talking, but we still don't understand why so many people feel the weight of an uneven hand. Lord, we're tired of being told where to stand. Tired of feeling judged before they know who we am. If respect was given, maybe peace could grow. But too many people always want control. Keep your head up, Karmelo. Keep walking through the rain. People got opinions, people got blame. Oh Lord, we're searching for the truth today. Praying real justice finds its way. Don't put your hands on me and we both be good. Everybody deserves to be understood. Oh Lord, hear the cry from every race. Too many scars on America's face. Some say self-defense, some say something else. Everybody telling stories from a different shelf. Witnesses talk, lawyers make their case. Meanwhile, pain keeps spreading all over the place. I'm sorry for the life that was lost that day, and I'm praying for the families along the way. But people keep asking through their tears and fears why we keep fighting the same fight year after year. Lord, we're tired of the division and the noise. Tired of watching anger drown out every voice. We need truth, we need grace, we need something new. A little more love and a little less fuel. Keep your head up, Karmelo. Keep walking through the rain. People got opinions, people got blame. Oh Lord, we're searching for the truth today. Praying real justice finds its way. Don't put your hands on me and we both be good. Everybody deserves to be understood. Oh Lord, hear the cry from every race. Too many scars on America's face. Ooh. Who the hell you think you are? Treating people different cause of where they are. We've come too far to keep living this way. Lord, send some light to this dark highway. 35 years, 400 years. Too many dreams drowned in too many tears. People still asking if the scales are fair. That's why the pain still lingers in the air. Keep your head up, keep your faith strong. Truth got a way of living on. Oh Lord, we're tired. Can you hear our cry? Send down justice from the sky. Keep your head up, keep your head high. One day the truth won't have to hide. Oh Lord, we're searching for a better way for America someday.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake up call. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get ready to jump right into it. Hold on, give me just a second. Okay. All right, let's see who's in here. Love Christy, Pearly, Nova is here. All right, Irma, let's get into it. Terry Hinton. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Linus of Ahaya. Hope I said that right. Okay, Yemiya is here. Pearly, Hashem. All right, let's get it popping. Pincy Lola, the lounge is here. All right. Nicole is in the virtual building. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. So before we get started, as per usual, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. I see you, Bronze Flat Power God. Okay, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's get right into it. Everybody hit that like button. Don't forget to like and share. It doesn't cost you a thing. It helps keep us in the algorithm. And also, it doesn't cost you a thing. And also, if you have not been receiving your notifications, be sure to double check and make sure you're still subscribed because you know people become mysteriously unsubscribed. Okay, so Carmelo heads back to court today. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Nolan and some of the updates. Now, I find it all very interesting that there is another connection here because according to Secret Service Sam, uh, the DA, Angel Myers McElrath, is married to an FBI agent. Come to find out. So y'all really think there's going to be justice? These people have too much going on down here, to be honest. And I've been hearing some people say, well, why doesn't the FBI get involved? Well, guess what? The FBI is involved. Okay. Yeah, they are involved. They're down there looking into the people that are threatening the other party, and they've made 3 arrests. Now, I can't say they're doing the same for the Onesleys. Okay, don't seem to care too much about them being threatened or anything else that's going on. Okay, so anyway, like I said, everyone, please like and share. Hold on just a second. I'm looking for something really quick here. Okay, so hold on. Before we get into that, let's talk about how Bree has come out and said that Bart, supposedly his family owns a part of Horn Island, which I find very interesting. Okay, so let me pull that up. Okay, and Aja Catano says, Morning Queen, please search YouTube video about Port Royal, Jamaica earthquake 1692. The whole town sunk into the sea. Believe this is coming to Mississippi. Why do you think that's coming to Mississippi, beloved? Why do you think that? I've actually heard about that, but why do you think that's coming to Mississippi? Are you saying that Mississippi is going to get their karma? They just might. They absolutely just might. Thank you for your insight to the topic and the information and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, here's what Bree posted. Horn Island is primarily owned by the United States government. About 94.2% of the island, 2,840 40 acres, is owned and managed by the National Park Service as part of the Gulf Islands National Seashore. Okay, it goes on to tell you more about it. The remaining 5.5%, about 174 acres, consists of small privately held parcels owned by various private individuals, families, and land ownership groups. No surprise there. And there it is right there, the parcel identification summary. It has the information on there, mid-island tract, western interior. It's telling you all the information on here, location, ownership structure. And then as you can see right here, it says Edmiston Link. Down here it says private individuals, family heirs, multi-owner group LLCs, trust, And it definitely has Bart's last name on here. I would imagine they're talking about Bart. I mean, he is prominent down there. His family is. His father's a doctor and all of that. So, yes, Edmiston associated, Edmiston links. So, what do you say there? I find this all very interesting because just think of the home team advantage that you have if you own part and parcel of that island. Yeah, ownership can mean familiarity. The owner and people close to them may know every dock, trail, building, storage area, shoreline, camera, boat, and secluded locations. I want y'all to think about this. Now, mind you, Warren and his friends went down there talking about they're going to, and their attorney said they're going down there to check over the layout and the dynamic of the island. And I said, well, if they've been going every year, as he said, they should already have that information. But more importantly, if Bart is one of the part owners, then I'm quite sure they should definitely know a whole lot more. Okay. Now, anyway, that creates a natural home field advantage. The owner knows the geography. Outsiders simply have to learn it. Think about that. Okay. Think about that. There can also be an information advantage. Now, think about investigators, okay, may initially depend heavily on the people who were present to identify witnesses, explain relationships, establish a timeline, describe normal activity on the property, and point them toward relevant locations. Now, if virtually everyone present is connected to the owner, okay, which supposedly is Bart, investigators may have fewer truly independent witnesses available. Okay, some people may not want to talk. Let me give my disclaimer. Now, mind you, I don't know if Bart and his family own part of this land or not, but this is what it looks like. Views, opinions, allegations, and accusations expressed by guests, third parties, or commenters are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show or any of my affiliate channels, shows, or social media accounts. Content is presented for commentary, discussion, reporting, and educational purposes. Discussion of an allegation does not mean the allegation is true or endorsed by this channel. All persons are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. So what do you all think about this? Let me see what y'all are saying. I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, right? All these elite people down there. Okay, please pay attention. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, this could definitely be an advantage to the person who owns it. And private property can also contain evidence that isn't immediately obvious. Security systems, gates, records, boats, electronics, GPS information, you name it, okay? So basically, they can have a social advantage, and that can be just as significant as the geographic one. A wealthy or influential property owner may have attorneys, employees, security personnel, boat captains, property managers. Think about it. Or other professionals available quickly. An attorney can immediately advise the owner that interviews, searches, preservation demands, and communications with investigators, they can give them all the insight into those things. Maybe that's why Bart's quiet and hasn't said anything like some other people. Okay. Now, this is a lawful right, and it can mean the owner is much better prepared than an ordinary person suddenly caught in a crisis. Well, you know, there is another important factor. Somebody controlling the property might be able to, in some manner, control part of the investigation for all we know. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but I just find it all very interesting. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Let's continue. I want to go to this audio. If you all remember the lady that said her son was friends with Karmelo, and she said that her son had tracked his location on Snap, he had snapped it or whatever. So this lady was apparently in a TikTok live. And so we have some of the stuff that she said. Now, I did play a portion of it for you yesterday. I thought that was just that clip, but there's more. So we're going to listen to it. It's like 4 parts. So I'm going to go back to the first part, and then we're going to listen from there. Irma says, sounds very fishy. Well, I have to agree. It surely does.
Let me, so I thank you guys so much. Bijou, oh my goodness. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
Welcome in.
I'm being very selective on panels that I go up on now because I have been doxxed, and a lot of my clips are circulating on multiple platforms, which I don't really so much mind the voice clips, but then they started showing my face, and then I have people trying to find out who my son is. And so just before I start saying anything, if anybody is screen recording this and wants to use it as a clip, please just don't use my information until I get this a little more wrapped up. I would really, really appreciate it for the integrity of the investigation, as well as for me and my son, because it is happening. There are a lot of creators that are just wanting to capitalize on the information that I have. And that's why I said I'm being very selective. And so when I heard you all speaking about the praying and fasting, that really kind of moved me, because I have gotten a lot of pushback and scrutiny, because in my original clip, the one that's kind of circulating, I had mentioned I don't really know why my son took the screenshot. I think it might have been a God thing. And so I've had a lot of, oh yeah, lady, it was a God thing. Your son was involved. Just things like that. And I'm like, no, we're the ones that nobody would have even thought, would have any information. And we're just trying to do the right thing. So when I heard about the prayer and the fasting, I was kind of led to share this information with all of you, so that it can kind of help put together a little more of a timeline and give information that has not been necessarily publicly released for everybody. I have spoken on several panels, but it's not been released by Crump's team as of yet. So thank you for having me up here. I appreciate that. I'll just kind of give you a brief rundown of how we even got involved in this, or how my son even knew Nolan. My son does not live here on the coast. I do. He lives with his father where he goes to school. However, last summer, he kind of was missing home. I'm here. All of his siblings are here. So he thought about moving here, and he looked at going to Ocean Springs School. He met the quarterback of the Ocean Springs football team at that time, who introduced him to Nolan. And Nolan just really went above and beyond. He reached out to my son. He let him know that they were having an off-season practice and invited him to come up. He said, I'll introduce you to the team. I'll introduce you to the coach. And if you decide to go to school here, like, I got you, kid. Like, just you're with me. And the extra importance of that is my son was not only an outsider coming in, because you have to understand, people here, their moms and dads have went to school together. They've went to school together, since they were in kindergarten. So my son didn't grow up with them. So not only was he an outsider, he was also born with a congenital heart defect. So that made him a little less physically mature as the boys his age. He was a little behind, and he certainly wasn't able to participate at an athletic level as most of the other boys. So for Nolan being who he was, to offer, to be that I got you person, really meant a lot to my son. He thought very, very highly of Nolan. Matter of fact, he described him as the most chill dude. That was his exact words. So my son ultimately decided he did not want to come to school down here. He wasn't comfortable here. So him and Nolan continued their friendship, which again speaks volumes for Nolan's character. This is a kid that, you don't have to keep talking to this boy that you just met. You don't have to continue to be friends with him, but he did. And they would play Fortnite together online, and they had a snap streak. Anybody that has children in this age range, you know how important a snap streak is. They all that's the first thing that they have to do in the morning. And so with having a snap streak, that means that both people have to snap each other within a 24-hour period. So that let me know that every single day, Nolan took time out of his day to think about my son and send him a snap to keep their snap streak going. So again, it just speaks to the incredible character that this young man seems to have possessed. So when my son found out that Nolan was missing, he had been on the island that day. He was with his older brother and with family friends that I went to school with. So he was with a much older crowd, and the two crowds are generally kind of separated. The older people kind of go to one end of the island, and the younger kids, of course, naturally want to stay away from, the eyes and ears of the older people so that they can, have their free time. So he wasn't hanging with these boys. He did witness the altercation way before it ever came out about anyone's brother being involved in any kind of martial arts activities or anything like that. That's exactly how my son described the altercation that he witnessed. He said that he described them as wannabe MMA guys. He did not know who they were. That was just the way that he described them. He was able to confirm that the younger guy put the older guy in an armbar. That information has now come out. So he knew what he was talking about on that. He also did see a boat. He cannot confirm if it was any of the boats that are in question or who was on the boats. But he did see a boat. He said the boat went flying past them. And by the time his boat made it up to this boat that passed them in a hurry, it was in distress. It appeared to be taking on water. And there was another boat pulling up to tow it. And that took place under the Ocean Springs Bridge. And that happened somewhere around 7-ish or so. He said it was starting to get dark. I thought it was a much earlier time when I had initially talked to him, but the more that I've been able to speak with him in depth about this, the more information I'm kind of getting to be able to put things together better. But other than that, he didn't see or witness any altercations, any fighting that involved Nolan or anything that seemed out of the ordinary where Nolan was concerned. When he saw the post that Christine had posted that night that Nolan was missing, he immediately went to Snapchat and sent Nolan a snap. And shows him not quite to Horn Island. He's like right in the middle of the Gulf. And it said that he had been there for 13 hours. The location had stayed in that spot for 13 hours. At first I was like, okay, I'm kind of running through the scenarios as to why would the location be there for 13 hours. Maybe the battery is gone. He doesn't have service. Like I ran through all the scenarios in my head. But then at the bottom of the screenshot, you can see where it says last active, meaning the last time that app was opened. And it said 1 hour. And then you can see where my son's snap was delivered 54 minutes prior. So that's when my questions kind of started. At first, I wanted to know, why did the location not change when the app was activated? And who had the phone at that hour of the night? The screenshot was taken at 1:53 a.m. And the way that it's been explained to me is that Snapchat works on the hour. So when it says 1 hour ago, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was right at 12:53. It could mean anywhere between 11:53 p.m. on July 4th to 12:53 a.m. on July 5th. So then that was my next question. Who had the phone at that time that would have been able to go into his Snap account? And at first I thought it was his mom. I said, okay, well, his mom probably had the phone at that time. My son had told me that he spoke with her. So I assumed that she replied back to the Snap that he had sent. And so I figured it was her that was in the Snap.
So I thank you.
Now, do you all hear that? Do you all hear that? Those sneaky devils, okay? And then Warden wants to sit there and act like, and let me just tell you all something else. Now, I uploaded a video last night where I was showing, where I showed a video where Warren released the text messages to Mrs. Christine, to Nolan's mother, the ones that he sent, where they were exchanging back and forth. But one thing that I noticed, he thought this was supposed to exonerate him, I guess, or make him look like he's the good guy. But one thing that I noticed is when she texted him and asked if he could bring Nolan's things, gather Nolan's things or whatever, that I believe were at Jax's house where he'd spent the night, if he could gather up those things or whatever and bring them to her, or she could come and get them or whatever, he never responded back until the 20th, the day of Nolan's funeral. Now, mind you, she sent him that text message on the 6th. Okay? And then he didn't reply back until the 20th. And then he's saying stuff like, oh, Nolan was like like a brother to me. And, I'm just so grateful that he had you guys as the best parents anybody could have, and stuff like this. Just putting it on real thick. And I'm so sorry I can't be there today and all of this. Trying to save face, basically, because he knew he wasn't going to that funeral. Please, he had no intentions of it, in my opinion. But I just thought that was very interesting because you didn't respond back to her until almost 2 weeks later. Are you serious? And then he wants to release that like he was really proving something. Please. Now let's go to the next clip of this lady talking. This is all very interesting because she said, who responded to that snap? Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Here we go.
Christine from? Where were they communicating? And he explained he sent her a message on Messenger, and he let her know. I have a screenshot of Nolan's last location. I didn't know if I should send it or if it would be helpful, or, you know, if you need this. And she replied back and said, anything at this point would be helpful. Please send the screenshot. So he sent her the screenshot, and he explained, you know, I had just snapped him. I was just within minutes of, you know, hopefully getting a reply back from him, but I've not heard anything. And she explained that Nolan left his phone on the boat. So I know that she knew that information. She stated it. She also said where the phone was, which I've not given that information to anybody but Crump's team. But she said where the phone was. It was not with her. So I know that. And then she just explained that Nolan had no means of communication at that time. So he, you know, he wouldn't be snapping him back. So I had my son call Jackson County Sheriff's Department the following day after Nolan was missing. Jackson County Sheriff's Department said, Nolan's mom has his phone. Thank you. And we didn't hear anything else after that. So I emailed Ben Crump once he came onto the scene to send him the information. I also sent it to Christine myself. I sent it to the Cajun Navy. Now, this is all while Nolan is still just missing. And I sent it to a personal friend that had posted that her and her husband were going out to look for Nolan. Other than that, I hadn't shared it publicly with anyone. But after, you know, a long stretch of time passed, and I felt like this is, if I have this many questions about what I'm looking at, if the shoe were on the other foot, I would want somebody to make sure that I had this information. So I went to social media, and I figured if I tell this enough, somebody's going to hear it, and it's going to catch the right attention. And maybe the information will get there quicker. I figured maybe the email has gotten lost in the shuffle. I'm sure they're getting a lot of tips and calls and emails. So that's when I took to social media. I was able to get Crump's correct tip line. Finally, I called. It was an AI assistant. They just kind of recorded my information, my name, what I knew, and said that, you know, someone would get back in touch with me. Last Friday at about 10:30, I was actually on a live, and the phone call came in. And my phone is set up that it'll show me a transcript. It asks the person that's calling, leave your name and why you're calling, and I'll see if this person is available. And so I saw the transcript come up that said Ben Crump's tip line. So I quickly exited the live, took the call, spoke with the woman, explained. We kind of went over what I had recorded. She kind of was giving me bullet points on the information that I had left her. And she asked me if I still had the screenshot. I said, yes, I've already emailed it, but I can email it again. She said, do you want to email it? I said, I will text it to you right now if you can receive text messages on this phone. She could. So I did. She looked at it. We went over it together. I kind of pointed everything out to her in the screenshot that I had noticed. And she said, wow. And then she said, out of the hundreds of tips that we have received, in my opinion, this is by far the most beneficial. I'm going to flag this high priority because somebody's eyes are going to want to be on this. So that's kind of where we are in the situation now, but it does give a little bit more insight and definitely more questions.
All right, this is very interesting. Okay, so she gave all this information to Mrs. Wonsley. Now let's go to the next part. Okay, here we go. I'm looking for something else. I had some other receipts that I forgot to show you all yesterday, and this was about the Cajun Navy. Okay, and I have it somewhere. Let me just go to my emails while you all listen to this.
I want to know, do you feel like when you contacted the sheriff department, do you feel like they just kind of left you hanging, or that they just kind of blew you off?
Well, I'll just give you my son's exact words, because he's the one that actually called, because, this is his information, and he wanted to help find his friend. That was, he felt like Nolan has always been so nice to me. He's always tried to include me in anything, and I just want to try to help find my friend. And so when they kind of dismissed his information, his exact words were, "Well, now I feel stupid." So that was the feeling that he got. I didn't speak with him. I didn't hear the tone or anything like that. So I can only reiterate the feeling that it gave my child. He said he felt stupid, and he said, maybe I shouldn't even talk about this. I wasn't Nolan's best friend. I didn't spend the night with him every weekend. He didn't come to my house. I didn't hang out with him. He's just my friend. But maybe my information isn't important. And that's how I felt about it. And it really took me a while, even after I spoke with Ben Crump's team, to kind of explain to him, no, what you did was the right thing to do. Like, your information is important. And so I've kind of encouraged him to not really follow this a whole lot, because once I knew that I was circulating on multiple platforms, I just told him, please don't respond to anything. People are already asking for your name. And I don't want him reading some of the comments that I've had to read, because he felt bad enough. He's already been made to feel stupid by authorities. I don't want him reading negative comments. You're a liar. You were involved. You're trying to get ahead of this and cover yourself. He doesn't need to see that.
You. The narrative about him drowning, how do you feel about that?
I think that it would be odd. I think that would be very, very odd. It's not like we have multiple cases of that happening in that area. I also think the timing of when this happened, it would be very odd for anyone to go out far into the water, especially alone. That would be very odd. I don't know how many pictures you've seen, but the boats pull up as close as they possibly can, and they go about three deep. You'll have a boat in front of it, and then a boat in front of that one. People generally stay no more than shoulder. Because it does get hot. You are in and out of the water. You probably hop from boat to boat and things like that. But as far as it being like a swim spot, it's not like the known swim spot. People go out there to celebrate. I mean, we have Christmas on the water even. So people are out there on that island throughout the whole year. So it's not really like the swim spot to go. The water is prettier there. I will say that the water's prettier. Those islands are what makes our water so murky and yucky looking here on the coast. It's all those barrier islands: Ship Island, Horn Island, Cat Island, Chandelier Island. All of those islands prevent the pretty water from coming in. So, I mean, we actually have a tourist attraction here. You can take the Ship Island excursion, and you have to pass right by Horn Island to get to Ship Island. So the tourists go out there regularly. It's a very popular, thing to see, because like I said, that's where the water gets blue. You'll see the porpoises following the boats, and, you can see more of like the sea life out there. So I'm sure there are people that are into that want to go snorkel or things like that. But on the 4th of July, you're out there at a social gathering.
Michelle, this is Clarity. Hi. Hi. I'm a woman from California. So I have a different point of view about the South. I have a question for you, and if you don't feel comfortable answering it, that's fine. But how far connected does this go? Is this deep, or is this not deep? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Well, I mean, I've got to ask the same question. Like, why did this get such national attention? So, I mean, there are things that are questionable to me about it that would make me have the same question that you have. But we're not all privy to information like that just because we're here. You know what I mean? Okay. There's kind of like, there's different classifications, and these people hang together, and then these middle people hang together, and then so not everybody is privy, and there's really not a lot of talk. I would say that there's far more talk from people that don't live here than people that do live here. It's kind of quiet here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that the stillness and the quietness is purposeful? And the reason why I ask is because It's my, because there's people that, you know, are friends of this page, and who live there. Their children attend the school district there. And I was told by someone whose children actually go to the schools there, they were told that they're not to mention Nolan whatsoever. So do you think that this is on purpose, where they want everybody to just remain silent?
I mean, obviously, that would be anybody's take that hears, you know, information like that. Of course, how could you not think that? Because why would anyone make a statement like that? You know what I mean? Like, why are you trying to hush people up? That, I mean, they can say, you know, we don't want to make this any bigger than it is. This is painting a bad light on the state of Mississippi. I mean, you know, so there's a lot of reasons that can be given, but
Account. I want to know, do you feel like when you contacted the sheriff department, do you feel like they just kind of left you?
Okay, let's go to the next part. I'm still looking for that receipt because the guy from the Cajun Navy, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Brian Trasher, said that he had pictures of Nolan's body and that he reached out to Mrs. Wansley to see if she wanted the pictures. And then he reached out to her, like, well, the first time she said something like she would get back to him or whatever. I can't remember exactly what she said, but then he says the next time he reached out, she didn't respond back. And you know, I was thinking she probably didn't want those pictures. I mean, after you found the body, and you know, they were talking about how they needed dental records and all that stuff. Maybe she didn't want to see her son like that. I don't know, but I was just wondering, what was he doing with the pictures? And even if you took pictures, like, okay, shouldn't those have been with law enforcement? Like, why would he have them and trying to give them to the mother? That just all sounded real crazy to me. Okay. I just thought that sounded crazy. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I think that was the last one of the audio for her speaking. Here we go. So someone left her a comment saying Bart Edmondson is associated with one of the private ownership groups tied to Horn Island remaining parcels, but he is not the sole owner of any entire tract. Hold on.
He doesn't have to be the sole owner. It's the fact that he's a part owner. Hello.
I mean, that's just really interesting. But like I said, we shouldn't be surprised. At the end of the day, all those people out there with money, we should have known. We should have known that one of them likely owned a part of that island. Okay, let's continue. Likes up. I'm the technology said that's a hell of a receipt, Queen. Thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Okay. Now this is audio from another live.
It was Wyatt, Bart, Brooks, Warren, Carter, all of them was on the same boat with Bart. So that's why I'm trying to understand, if Wyatt drove one boat and Bart drove another boat and Warren drove the other boat, how was they all on the same boat in that tow video?
Warren wasn't driving the boat. The video showed Warren on the bow of the boat, like getting the rope together to tie onto the other boat. Warren wasn't driving at all.
I say driving.
Oh, okay.
I said they was all on the same boat. On that video, Warren, Wyatt, Bart, Brooks, Carter, they was all on that same boat, but you said that Bart was on the boat that towed them, which means Bart wouldn't have been on the boat with the 8 people. But Bart was one of the 8 people on that boat.
Well, again, they were so close together, right?
I can't believe this shit.
And they were hopping back and forth. Bart was the one, once they got halfway
Oh
out,
my God.
the one that got out and pulled the plug off the boat so they could get going to get all the water out. So
Police.
It's any inconsistency that, you know, Wyatt was driving the Triton, and Brooks was driving the top line, and Warren was on the Triton. And I don't think Carter was on that boat.
No, I don't think he was either. I think he'd already been swept away after that fight. He put somebody in an armbar, and I think that's why Warren called Mommy 8 times to come get Brother Carter and get him the fuck out of there.
Whoever, like I said, I once again, he's an attorney. He can handle tough questioning, whether it's realistic or not. He can handle tough questioning. All right, so I'm gonna bring her up for a few seconds. I'm gonna bring her for a few seconds more. But do not, guys, you don't drop people. I already told you guys not to drop anyone. I'll handle it. But go ahead. What were you saying, sir?
I was just going to say she's doing a great job.
It was on the boat. It was Wyatt, Bart, Brooks.
Okay, so I didn't find the audio from the live. I don't know where I sent it to, but I did find him talking to Brian Trasher, that is. I did find a video of him just now where he's talking to TMZ, and he's telling them about the pictures he took. Now, before we go back to that or get to that, there is one more piece of audio from the mom who claims that her son had Nolan snap. Okay, so let's go to this last part. I think this is part 4. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
You're up. Do you have your, and I'm going to rotate everybody out. So if you want to come back later, you can. Go ahead, Bree.
Okay, I got 2 rapid fire questions. First one is, can you provide Life 360 or the black box boat documents for the timing to the investigators of which your son traveled so that they can kind of figure it out and maybe look at the map of which he traveled? And then my second question is does your son know if the boys ever did MMA regularly?
You're asking if they would take my son's boat coordinates? Is that what you were asking?
Yes, just for investigative purposes.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. It's not his
That
boat.
would make sense, though, right? Like the boat that he was on to get the coordinates for the bridge and when he saw them and all that. The timing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a family friend's boat, so I'm sure that they would be, more than happy to provide anything that is asked of them should it get to that level. If
it's crazy that they haven't requested it yet, though.
That right, and that's kind of what I was following up with. If contact is made with us to ask for any information, I kind of thought that we would have already been contacted, considering that he made the phone call that next day when Nolan was still just missing. I mean, I know that he told them what he had. I'm not sure if they understood what he was trying to say. I don't know if they were even thinking along the lines of, hey, this could potentially be vital information at some point. It just seemed odd to me that if you have a missing person case going on and someone calls you and says, hey, I have a last known location, a generalization to start a search, that would not have been taken at that time, or a follow-up call come, after Nolan's body was found. So, I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure, and I'm speaking for these people, just my opinion. I don't foresee that they would have a problem turning over any of their GPS records concerning their boat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your response.
Mm-hmm. And what was your second question?
Do you know if your son had ever said anything about Nolan going to attend MMA or the other boys attending any type of MMA Were they in any kind of fight club? Fight club is huge down here. We used to have something called the Biloxi Fight Club years ago. And so I'm just curious. MMA is massive down here.
He what's odd is so keep in mind, number one, my son doesn't live down here. He comes to visit regularly, but he doesn't live down here, so he doesn't run with this group of boys. He was Nolan's friend. He wasn't Warren's friend, Wyatt's friend. He has met a couple of them in passing. He knew of a Katie. I can't confirm if that is the Katie that was on the island, but he knew of a Katie that was in the friend group that he kind of met in a situation where it was kind of like, hey, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, that's Katie, in a situation like that. So he doesn't really know the like ins and outs of what these boys are into. But when he was first describing the altercation that he saw on the island, he referred to the people as wannabe MMA fighters. And he did confirm that the younger boy put the older man in an armbar. He said, yes, that happened 100%.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he said the younger man put the older man in an armbar, or whatever you call it. He's likely talking about Carter. Okay, he's likely talking about Carter. Okay, so that's all very interesting. And let's not forget that according to Trayston's words during the Rage Batum Tatum interview, Carter was defending him. Okay, so this is all very interesting information. Now, let's continue. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. First and foremost, as I told you all, it has come out that allegedly the DA, Mrs. Angel Myers McElrath, is married to an FBI agent. So if y'all thought the FBI was going to swoop in to save the day, please pay attention. They're not. And I already knew they're not, because look who's in charge of the FBI. Okay, small change Patel. Now, if the FBI was going to do something, they'd have already done it. Y'all saw Mississippi burning, how the FBI came down there and took over, okay, and just solved the whole case. Well, that's not going to be what happens here, okay, because they're on the opposite side from the sounds of it.
Sam here with the Nolan Xavier Wells update, and something that somebody brought to my attention. This is very interesting. Angel McGrath, the DA in Mississippi, the one who is keeping everything so tight to the grand jury, in my opinion, right? And just in my opinion, nobody else's. Allegedly, well, something I found out that somebody brought to my attention is look who her husband is, Scott McGrath, who, this is public knowledge, she shared it on her Facebook, is in the FBI. So it's just interesting. I'm just pointing out how connected a lot of these people are. And we keep saying, like, where is Trash Patel? Where is the FBI on this case? Why are they not taking it more serious? Why are they not taking it over, in fact, from Mississippi? And I just things that make you go, know what I mean? What do you guys think? It's kind of interesting. Secret Service.
Okay, speaking of the DA, she also gave a statement. So let's get into it, because she gave a statement regarding release of information in the Nolan Wells case, and also about people alleging that there's a supposed cover-up. Okay, Jackson County District Attorney Angel Myers McElrath released a statement Tuesday afternoon following public criticism of the DA's office and the investigation of the Nolan Wells case. Now, in the statement, she addresses an alleged lack of transparency from her office and the timing of the release of information in the case. Let's get into it. So I'm going to share this on the screen for all to see. Like, so everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. So she says, as district attorney, I do not have the same freedom to share information publicly that private individuals may have. For example, I do not have the freedom to release letters I've sent in this investigation, discuss witness cooperation, or the testing of evidence. I do not have the freedom to identify what information is verified and what information is false. I do not have the freedom to publicly adopt a narrative and choose one fact over another. Now, I want you all to pay attention because she's clearly throwing shade at Ben Crump's team. Okay, that's what this all sounds like she's throwing shade. But anyway, nor do I control the information released publicly, released by private individuals who are not part of the investigative team. I cannot control whether private individuals release letters they have sent to me, just as I cannot prevent them from releasing letters I've sent to them. I cannot control which facts or bits of information are shared or whether that information is being shared in context, twisted, or misconstrued. Public commentary does not make the speaker transparent, just like exercising restraint consistent with the law does not make the process corrupt. The fact that something is said does not necessarily mean it's actually true. Prosecutors are held to the highest ethical standard under the law, as we should be. The people we serve deserve no less. I understand that a void is perceived when some are speaking publicly about a matter while others do not. I would be stepping outside the bounds of the law if I were to fill that void and share information publicly. With all of the public pressure being placed on my office, filling the void would only serve to get pressure off of me. Nolan deserves better. There's no pressure that can be placed on me and no force that is greater than the weight of the oath I took and my responsibility to the people I serve. My obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all the evidence collected in this case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation, complete evidence presentation, the actual truth, and an understanding of the law. I'm obligated to do so in keeping with the law and the rules of the court. On July the 23rd of 2026, I released a recorded statement explaining the process and what the people of Jackson County should expect in this matter. There is nothing more to be shared at this time. I caution the public about assigning trustworthiness to things they read and see online. I also ask that rather than those individuals demanding that I step outside the bounds of the law and make public statements, we all step back, allow the process to work, and allow us to do the job we were elected to do. I stand firmly on the rule of law and my ethical obligations. That is what the people of Jackson County elected me to do. I will present the grand jury with a thorough, complete, and fair investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. Well, I don't believe you, ma'am. I don't believe you. And I think that you're just a liar who lies. And the reason I believe that is because isn't this the same person that agreed that they would get together for a joint venture and they would both, her team and Ben Crump's team, the Nolan Wells family's team, go through the phone and retrieve the data and information that they sought? But then just days ago, she decides to send them a letter 2 pages long talking about how they have 48 hours to drop off that phone or else. She didn't say or else, that's what I'm saying, but nonetheless, that's what she did. So you've already gone back on your word, ma'am, on something that you absolutely agreed to. So no, I don't believe you, and no one should. And you can sit there and write this letter, leave this fancy statement or press release and act as though that you want to uphold the letter of the law and that you're here to please and support the people of Jackson, but you're not doing anything to please or support the Wansley family. Okay, that's what you're not doing, ma'am. And that's why they don't trust you and your corrupt organization. And yes, I'm calling it corrupt. It is. We already know what Stacey Turner has been doing down there, giving those sham of autopsy reports. It is. Everyone already knows. That's why there's a whole petition out on change.org to get her removed. Please sign the petition. Please sign the petition. With that all being said, yeah, we don't trust you, and no one with sense should. And in fact, we don't trust any of the entirety of the government of Mississippi or any of the law enforcement or any of the politicians or anything else they have going on down there. And why the hell should we? Okay, please make it all make sense. Okay, please make it all make sense. That letter wasn't worth the paper it was printed on, as far as I'm concerned. All right? That's just how it goes. Now, with that all being said, hopefully there'll be justice for Nolan Wells and his but I seriously doubt it because look at what the hell we have to work with. Okay, please pay attention. Now let's go to this report from TMZ, and this is an old report. This is nothing new, but where the guy from the Cajun Navy said that he had taken pictures of Nolan.
So I'd started taking images of the scene on the ground. There were several law enforcement boats and personnel. And later on, when I looked at the pictures and zoomed in, I noticed that you could actually see the body laying on the shoreline in those pictures. I was not trying to take a picture of the body at the time, but it ended up being captured in the wide angle.
And what exactly do you see in the photos?
I see a body that matches the description of Nolan Wells, laying face down at the shoreline right at the water's edge. And he was wearing swim trunks and, was not moving. Obviously, it just looked like he was sleeping on the beach.
Now knowing that the family is looking for any information about his body being discovered that day and washing up on shore, do you plan to hand over these photos and these images to the family or to their team?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's obviously images that I hope that his family never has to see. However, anything, and I want to repeat this, anything that Christine and Elmore want from the United Cajun Navy, we will not tell them no. We will give them whatever they want, anytime they want. All they have to do is ask.
So once they ask you, you will then hand over anything that you do have and any information that you have from that day.
That's correct.
Why didn't your team communicate to the family about what you saw that day?
Yeah, I just didn't think that it would be helpful to his mom as she was just finding out that her son was dead. That I saw the body. Human curiosity is going to probably ask me to describe what I saw, and I just think that would have made it worse. Certainly wasn't trying to hide anything from her. And as a matter of fact, I was 400 feet in the air, and there was plenty of law enforcement on the scene right there with his body. So anybody could have described what they saw and what they saw up close. Now later on, I found out that they were not given access to the body and all that kind of stuff. And maybe it could have been helpful if I just told them a little bit that I knew, but I didn't know that at the time.
Document that moment.
So I'd started.
Yeah, we remember that, how they wouldn't allow the parents to see the body. And what's up with that? What is really up with that? They definitely had something to hide, in my opinion. Okay, because otherwise, what would be the point? What would be the point? Okay, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now, with that all being said, don't forget that I told you all yesterday that they claimed that Warren's or Wyatt's grandfather, Jerry, the one who canceled the Cito call, was at the island too. Y'all see that? Said that he was at the island too. I find it all very interesting. Then showed a picture of him sitting there. At least that's who they said was him. Okay, I find it all interesting. Now, with that all being said, those text messages that Warren posted. Hold on, let me see what this lady's talking about right here. Hold on, beloveds. She told Warren his phone is showing up on the mainland, and Warren said he had the phone then. Yeah, that's another thing. You all remember that, right? From the text messages when she told Warren that Nolan's phone was showing that he was on mainland, like he was on dry land. And that's when he's like, oh yeah, we have his phone. Acting like he wanted to volunteer some darn information. Okay? Acting like he really was acting as a good Samaritan. Please miss us with it. Now, one more thing I want to say about the Cajun Navy before we move into the Carmelo Anthony updates. Josh Gill of the Cajun Navy says that Jadarius, if you all remember the young man who had gone missing, they think that they found him.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Josh Gill, United Cajun Navy. It's 18 August 2026. Big day today, big announcement. Baton Rouge police found some remains along with FBI and some other law enforcement in the Baton Rouge landfill. Yes, they believe it's Jadarius Manyweather. They're going to run some tests and some DNA on that. So the remains are at the crime lab. They're going to do their thing with science and technology to test those remains. Let's say a prayer for the family. It's time to bring some closure. It's been since June 5th that he's been missing. We've done a ton with this. We've been a part of this process from the beginning. And I will say this, as I made a promise on behalf of United Cajun Navy, as well as myself, to the Manyweather family, that we would be there, we would help, we'd stick through it with them, and we did that. So let's pray that this is Jadarius. Let's pray that they can start the healing process. Let's pray for closure. Let's pray for some healing for the nation as well, because we sure need it. We're seeing a lot going on. We don't need the BS, guys. So again, love each and every one of you. Jadarius, we're bringing you home, man. Thanks.
So sad, another young life lost. Prayers and condolences. Okay, now let's talk about Karmelo because his life isn't lost, and nor is it going to be because the low down dirty devils that railroaded him. Oh yeah, they're going to have karma coming real soon. And at the end of the day, Karmelo is going to get that new trial. I don't even think there needs to be a new trial. I think that he should just be able to walk up out of there because of all the sham and corruption that was involved in his trial in the first place. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
What if you could make a song?
A return to court for Carmelo Anthony's trial appeals is also the likely return of other things.
I think it's just going to fuel everything all over again.
Heightened security, lines to get inside, and protests outside.
Verdict guilty of murder. What?
10 weeks after Carmelo Anthony was convicted of murder and sentenced 35 years in the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf,
35 years!
his appeal for a new judge and a new trial begin. Benita Parker is a longtime defense attorney. Not a party to the case, she tells us the appeal hearings are happening on a very tight timeline.
The judge has 75 days from the verdict date. Everyone's doing their calculations of 75 days.
That means we could know by next Monday if a new trial is granted or even earlier. The defense laid out a long list of objections in support for a new trial.
A lot of people live right now.
About restrictions on public access.
It's the best we got.
A breakdown in unrecorded agreements about evidence.
We're arguing that the dispute regarding the agreement did impact the outcome of the trial.
What will also return is the lingering conversations both sides have maintained this trial should not be about.
From day one, this case was never about race.
Carmelo Anthony will be in court this week. His appeal could take years, and these hearings could take us all back to the trial in June.
There's too much at stake. One of the biggest trials of the decade.
In Collin County, I'm Jobin Puniker.
I mean, what a load of BS. Okay, you're defending yourself, and this is the crap you have to go through. Okay, this literally makes me sick to my effing stomach. Okay, you're defending yourself, and now you have to sit in prison and fight for an appeal and a second trial and all of that, and it could take years. Years of your life wasted over BS because some clown thug and his brother decided to harass you and bother you just because they're haters and bullies. Please pay attention. And it was about race. It always has been. Anytime you hear, especially an older white person from the South, talking about it's not about race, it absolutely is.
We'll be back in this courthouse in Texas today. Let me break the case down for you. Back in June, Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison for fatally stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet. Now he wants a new judge and a new trial. So he has an entirely new legal team made up of pretty well-known civil rights and criminal defense attorneys. And they're asking for the judge that presided over his initial case back in June, Judge John Roach, to be recused, so removed from any future proceedings. After they do that, they'll be asking for a new trial. His attorneys say there were constitutional and legal issues with the former trial. Some of Anthony's supporters say while he was sentenced by a jury, there was not one black person on that jury. The judge, on the other hand, has done interviews saying that it was a fair trial on both sides. This case has sparked a lot of race issues and protests here. Carmelo Anthony will be back.
Yeah, it sure has sparked a lot of race issues and protests because it's about race. That's why I don't understand why they keep saying it. And here's the thing, you know it's about race because Jeff Metcalf came out calling us all kinds of names, talking about black folk, calling Carmelo a watermelon felon and all this other BS. So please. That's exactly what it's about. And that's why he is in prison where he is for simply defending himself.
Judge Roach won't get recused and he can say what he wants after the verdict. Yeah, he can say what he wants. Isn't this a time where we say freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequence? Yeah, you can say what the fuck you want after trial, but you will be held accountable in case there's a motion for retrial, and you will get recused based on the things you said that was endorsing the verdict, showing that you can't be impartial. Judge Roach won't get recused and he can say what he wants after the verdict. Yeah, he can say what he wants. Isn't this?
I mean, they are so mad. Why are they so mad and upset? If they feel like it was an ironclad case, if they feel like Carmelo's a cold-blooded killer and he's where he needs to be, then why are they concerned? Because then that would mean that he's likely not going to get an appeal or a second trial. But why are the devils so upset? Why are the maggots so mad and butthurt? Because they know that it was a sham of a trial, a kangaroo court, and that absolutely he was railroaded, and they fear that he'll get out and they won't get the vengeance that they so desperately want. Okay, just a bunch of devils.
Carmelo Anthony will have new lawyers when he returns to the Collin County Courthouse on Wednesday for the first of two hearings related to his murder conviction in June. That's when a jury found him guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf and sentenced him to 35 years in prison. Anthony's attorneys will ask Wednesday for a new judge to oversee the 19-year-old's appeal, which is scheduled to begin the next day.
Mr. Anthony's team has their work cut out for them.
Criminal defense attorney Todd Shapiro is not connected to the case, but has defended clients in Collin County. He believes Anthony's motion for a new trial and a new judge is an uphill battle.
I think Roach ran an incredibly efficient and fair trial, from the media restriction to the crowd's control to the sheriff's department being in control. Everything ran as smoothly as you could possibly ask for in a big case like that. And Roach did a great job, and he's the one that was responsible for the tone of the trial.
The father of Carmelo Anthony posted a social media message asking those who stand behind his son's claim that he stabbed Austin Metcalf in self-defense to show their support by gathering at the courthouse. That's where authorities broke up confrontations and made some arrests in June after supporters from both sides clashed. The leader of the Next Generation Action Network says a strong show of support among those who believe Anthony can make an impact.
Show up, not with hate, not with violence, not with threats, not with attacks of anyone. Come with discipline, come peacefully, come prepared to respect the courtroom in the proceedings. Come because we believe that a justice system deserves witnesses.
Anthony has been serving his sentence over the last 2 months in a Central Texas prison. His attorneys are expected to argue that he deserves a new trial in part because of an impartial judge and a controversial agreement between both the defense and prosecutors not to allow the jury to hear evidence about Anthony or Metcalf's backgrounds. A South Texas judge will preside over Wednesday's recusal hearing. After that, either Judge John Roach or a new judge will hear arguments over the motion for a new trial.
Judge Roach, if he had any decency left, he would have recused himself. But clearly that's not what he wanted to do. Okay, so now really quickly, and then after this, we're out of here. This lady is an attorney. Someone sent me this. So she's down here in Texas. Let's see what she's talking about. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Following any of our coverage on the trial, which started the day of the verdict into now, you know that Carmelo Anthony is having 2 hearings this week. Tomorrow, he is having the motion to recuse Judge Roach. Thursday will be the motion for new trial, and we will be there in person. All right. There'll be streaming. There'll be some video streams of the hearing as well as audio streams of the hearing. There'll also be an overflow room for Wednesday. We know that for Wednesday. We have not been told what's going to happen yet for Thursday. I have been in communication with the public information officer for this hearing for the last month, and the updates to add the overflow room and the audio feed were just added a couple of weeks ago. But like I say, they're just for Wednesday, because if Judge Roach is recused, then Judge Hall will continue to hear the motion for new trial on Thursday. But if he denies the motion on tomorrow and Judge Roach is not recused, can only imagine Judge Roach could possibly hear the motion for new trial on Thursday. So the seating arrangements, overflow accommodations have not been announced yet for Thursday, because it depends on what judge will be hearing that case. If you're new here, like, share, and subscribe. This is the Fit Lawyer ATL. I am a 20-year criminal defense and personal injury attorney in Atlanta, Georgia. If you ever get arrested for a crime or involved in a crash in Georgia, our information to contact us is in the description. All right, y'all. So as you know,
so with that all been said, I guess we'll have to just sit back and wait and see how it all turns out. Okay, did you all see Rage Batum Tatum? He got all upset because he heard what Elliot Connie said about him. Ha! He is such a crybaby, right? Hold on, is this it right here? Yeah, here it is. And then listen to him. First thing he says out of his mouth is, I haven't watched it. Ha! That means he absolutely watched it, okay? He absolutely watched it. Why are you talking about it? Why are you even addressing it if you didn't watch it? If you didn't care enough to watch it, then why do you care enough to talk about it? Okay? Why do you care enough to talk about it? I have several questions. Okay, please pay attention. Yeah, he said, I haven't watched it. Hold on, beloveds. Hold on, beloveds. Like, step, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And so, you know, Judge Roach is out of there. He is officially recused. Okay, he's officially recused, and I'm so glad about it. I'm so glad about it. Visiting Judge Sid Harley granted the defense's motion to remove Judge Roach during a hearing in Collin County. All right, so he's up out of there. Bye. Okay, see you and wouldn't want to be you. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go to the report, or let's go. Let me pull this up. I wonder what Fox News has to say about this, because you know how they always stay hating on black folk. Okay, they always stay hating. Hold on, let me pull up a report. Looks like they're the. It looks like they're the main ones reporting on it. That's all I see is Fox News Dallas, and all of that. Excuse me. Hold on. Let's see what they have to say. Here we go. Hold on, beloveds. I don't know why this is taking so long. You all listen to Tap Dance and Tatum while I pull this up, because it's taking a minute to load. Listen to his little lion self.
Team watched it, they presented it to me, so I know it's got to be something that I may want to hear. All right, first of all, Elliot, I went on his show in good faith because it appears that although things he said about me I disagree with wholeheartedly, he wasn't extremely disrespectful and unprofessional. So I said I can go on and maybe have a productive conversation. This young lady, Teslin, is cussing and acting a fool and doing shenanigans type of stuff, and I don't want to get into an argument with a woman that's not acting in good faith and is ghetto. It's a waste of my time. I'm a boss out here. I'm not some little YouTuber that's just getting started out. I do this for a living. I have respect, and I also have credentials. I've done research. I've been around the world. You name it. I don't want to waste my time with people who want to argue with me in poor faith. I honestly think Elliot wants to argue with me to get his views up, which is fine, because I'm not ducking from anybody. I'll go anybody's show anytime to talk about this Nolan Wells case. The funny thing is that Elliot didn't want to talk to me about Nolan Wells. He wanted to talk to me about me and try to give me a fake diagnosis of who I am. This young lady claims she wanted to talk about Nolan Wells. You know, in good faith, if she wanted to have a good faith conversation, I don't care. There's nothing. Listen, I want people to understand there's no vested interest in this for me. I went out there. They wanted to be interviewed by me. I validated, verified everything that they said. I did an interview for them to tell the world what they told me. That's it. I'm not going to, there's no jail time for me in this. I wasn't on Horn Island. After this case is resolved, I'm going to go back to living my life with my family, and the next story is going to come up. There's no vested interest for me to have anything to say but to tell you what they told me. It's really that simple. And I don't like the fact that innocent people are getting blamed in this situation unnecessarily. That's my position. But let's hear what they had to say. This is the first time I've heard this, Roland.
You were watching my interview with former Officer Tatum last week, and you were watching with Nolan Wells' parents. Which I want to ask about in a minute.
Why are they watching my
first question
interview?
I want to ask you is,
we didn't even talk about Nolan.
What was your response to being referred to as super ghetto?
Oh, I loved it. And you and you probably have to do a whole session on me to you probably will tell me better what my response is. And again, thank you for being here.
Session on me.
Charlemagne named me the Hood Whisperer, Black Effect. I see you have your Black Effect gear on. As you know, I have a podcast on.
I said she was ghetto. She just tied up the Hood Whisperer.
You said
What is different? What is different from when I said you super ghetto and they call you the Hood Whisperer? How is what me saying any different than what the names people are giving you? Now watch how she act, because she probably her ghetto side probably come out.
The Black Effect Podcast Network.
I do too. Family Therapy. Everybody go check it out on Black
Today
Space
All
Podcast
Eyes will
Network.
be on
Anywhere you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio. Let's go.
Subscribe, like. so Charlemagne named me the Hood Whisperer because, and I've always had these different mantras, but he did that because of my ability to be able to speak to various different walks of life, and not from a standpoint of,
I haven't watched it. My team watched it. They presented it to me, so I know it's got to be something that I may want to hear. All right.
The lies, knowing good and well that he already saw it, okay? He doesn't want to talk to someone like Tesla because he already knows the BS that he tries to spew. It's not going to work with her, and she's not going to let him just carry the conversation and paint and control the narrative. He knows that. He does not want to talk to someone who's going to stand up to him, okay, and not let him just run with his own rhetoric.
Today, all eyes will be on a courtroom in Collin County as the man convicted in a deadly high school track meet stabbing makes a new plea. Back in June, a jury convicted Carmelo Anthony of murdering Austin Metcalf.
Now his attorneys are pushing for a new trial.
Our Janelle Fort live at the courthouse this morning with what's at stake today. Janelle?
Well, Dee and Matt, before Carmelo Anthony's attorneys can really get into their argument for a new trial, they first want a new judge, and that is what today's hearing is all about. It starts at 9 o'clock this morning. So I have our legal expert, Todd Shapiro, here with us this morning. Todd, I know that you covered this the first go around. I know you're going to be in the courtroom today. Can you walk us through what we can expect in today's hearing?
Sure. So today and tomorrow, kind of a two-step process here on this case. First, the defense has filed a motion to recuse Judge Roach based upon maybe some comments that he might have made post-trial, as well as potentially not allowing the media in the first time. So there are a few points that they're trying to bring up to have him recused and removed from the case. There's a visiting judge that's sitting that will listen to the evidence, whatever's presented by the defense, and then make a ruling and decision whether Roach gets to continue on the case or not.
In your legal opinion, do you think that he is going to be recused?
I don't believe so. Based on anything that I know, I think it's a high burden that the defense has to prove. I think they have to climb a pretty high mountain to get there. And I just don't see that Roach did anything other than run a completely efficient and speedy trial and got everybody a fair trial.
First of all, I have to beg to differ. Well, he was recused, so we can see that he clearly was wrong in that aspect. But the other thing is, he said that he didn't feel there was anything wrong with what he said post-trial. Well, there was absolutely something wrong with it. It lets us know that he was biased during the trial. Just because he said it after doesn't take away the fact that while he was sitting on the bench, he was absolutely biased, okay? And we know that from reading the transcripts yesterday, the portions that I read to you all. I mean, it was just absolutely kangaroo court.
Back in court today here at the Collin County Courthouse behind me. This comes 2 months after a jury found him guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet last year. That jury sentenced him to 35 years in prison. Meantime, Carmelo Anthony has maintained that he stabbed Austin Metcalf in self-defense. Anthony and a new legal team, new set of lawyers, have hearings both today and tomorrow as part of his appeals process. Today's hearing is asking for the judge to be recused in this case. That is Judge John Roach. He presided over the original trial, and Carmelo Anthony's team is asking him to be replaced with a different judge. A South Texas judge will be presiding over today's hearing.
Okay, so that all been said. So they have been granted a new judge. So that's the start. Okay, they have been granted a new judge. That's the start. So next thing, all we need now is the new trial. Okay, which is coming. Okay, which is coming. We don't care about you, Tatum. Exactly. All right. I even hate that we're giving him this attention. Lord knows he doesn't deserve it or need it. Okay. Please pay attention. Anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Let me make sure I didn't leave anything out. Like, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on. Let me see what this is real quick. Hold on, you guys. Let's see what Fox had to say about it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. One roach out the way, and the rest of the roaches in Ocean Springs are next. Oh, Cartier, that's a good one, beloved. Okay, that was funny. All right, let's hear what Fox has to say, because I know they're mad. Probably talking all the trash.
At a track meet last year. Peyton May is live this morning in McKinney with a look at what to expect in court today. Peyton.
Yes, Brandon, Anthony has a new legal team of well-known civil rights and criminal defense attorneys. Today, they'll be requesting a new judge, and tomorrow, they'll be asking for a new trial. Now, in June, Anthony was found guilty of stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf to death at a Frisco track meet. A jury sentenced him to 35 years in prison. Now, Anthony's representation wants the judge who presided over that June murder trial, Judge John Roach, to be removed from all his future proceedings. Judge Sid Harrell, who presided over the first Uvalde shooting trial, is traveling to McKinney to hear arguments regarding that request. Anthony Farmer, an attorney not involved in this case, has previously worked on cases where a judge has been recused. He says there could be issues moving forward depending on what the judge has previously said.
The judge already feels that and has made comments and admitted that he feels the first trial was fair, then the movement presenting a motion for new trial is almost moot and void, because the judge has already said, I feel it's fair.
What happens today will directly impact a hearing tomorrow. In that proceeding, Anthony's attorneys will request a new trial, raising constitutional and legal challenges to the original trial. They want those issues to be decided by an independent judge. Now, the hearing will begin at 9 a.m. and we will have.
So let me tell you all something. See why this was a problem. Like that person said on when they left that comment, they basically said that the judge can say whatever he wants post-trial. Like, yeah, he sure can, but there's consequences. Okay, now if they're filing for an appeal and you've already let it be known that you feel like the charges stick, like they were right and the verdict was right and the sentencing and all of that was right, then you don't need to be a part of the appeals process, because you've already shown your bias. You've already made your decision and made up your mind. But here's what they say. Okay, Judge John Roach Jr. was recused today, August 19th of 2026, from Carmelo Anthony's remaining post-trial proceedings. Visiting Judge Sid Harley granted the defense's motion to recuse Roach this morning. Multiple outlets are now reporting the ruling. Now, the important part is why Harley granted it. Now, listen to this. He reportedly said he did not find that Roach violated judicial conduct rules and believed Roach could be fair. However, the legal standard also considers the appearance of impartiality. Harley concluded that a reasonable outside observer could question Roach's impartiality after Roach made public comments following the trial, including saying the jury got it right. This means Roach will not preside over the upcoming motion for a new trial. Another judge will handle the remaining trial court proceedings, and the hearing on Carmelo Anthony's motion for a new trial is scheduled for tomorrow, August the 20th. Okay, so this is a significant win for Carmelo's team, you guys. But it does not mean the conviction is going to be overturned. There's still another legal battle to fight. But we are remaining hopeful that justice will prevail. Okay, we can remain hopeful that justice will prevail, because absolutely this was a whole sham. Okay, like I said. Yep. Hold on, let's go to this last report and then we're out of here. This is one more report from Fox News. I know they're crying in the car. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Yeah, that's right. Janara says we need to stop calling him officer. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's trying to live a life that he doesn't even any longer live. It makes him feel important, in my opinion. It makes him feel special. You know, it makes him feel like he belongs. Because why do you want to be called officer when you're no longer that? Make it all make sense.
Let's bring in attorney Mahek Cook for more on this case. Mahek, the judge said no cameras in the courtroom. He thinks that helped keep the trial on rails. What do you think?
John, thanks for having me. And I agree with this judge. Every courtroom is designed for a fair trial. And what the judge was doing in this case was making sure that the political and online mobs did not interfere with the conduct, not only for himself, but also for the individuals in the room and the jury. I checked this, John, 3 times.
First of all, who is she calling an online mob? She better be talking about MAGA, because that's the only online mob that I ever heard of. She needs to sit down somewhere. But let's continue. I like her nerve.
Because I'm surprised by the pushback and this mob mentality. This was a unanimous verdict. That means the jury contemplated the evidence at hand. They looked at the self-defense plea that the defense made and they rejected it. I think this judge is doing something we need more of in this country, defending the courtroom from the mob and pushing back against this collapse of public trust in our justice system. And here the defense has every opportunity to appeal, but we have to push back on this mentality of racial injustice and all the other things, the AI images that are happening in the online forum, because it's just not accurate. You're seeing 12 jurors that made a decision, and that's what the rule of law demands.
Well, you mentioned AI images, and I wonder if cameras in the courtroom could have dispelled some of that. Here's what the judge had to say. He said, some news outlets were posting photos saying they were from inside the courtroom. It wasn't my courtroom. It wasn't the witness. It wasn't their testimony. And that's tragic because, again, that just breeds the narrative that these people want to cultivate in our community to drive a wedge between us. Obviously, people were putting fake photos out there, AI images, but if you had cameras in the courtroom, maybe that wouldn't have happened.
Well, I got to tell you something, John. We see every single day the truth and what's happening on a large scale. When President Trump speaks, that's to camera, that's to the American people. And yet we have AI images and distortion from the truth. This is called media manipulation. And this younger generation and this mainstream media that really don't want the truth out there. So whether there were cameras or not, we were going to be fighting this mob mentality. It is a daily fight that Americans have today. This is why we turn to news outlets for the truth. And this is why the judge wanted to protect this trial. You could have opened it up. You could have had cameras, but we would have still had false narratives. The left and this mob is so good at this. We've seen this in so many other cases. I respect this judge's opinion and decision because this was a fair trial at the end of the day.
Yeah, here's one of the advantages of not having cameras in the courtroom. The judge says, I think social media got it wrong. Young people rely on social media more than I certainly do. That sure impacted me to make sure that they did not change their testimony, that they were willing to come in and tell the truth without fear of being doxxed or swatted. So, you know, if some of these young witnesses had been available on camera feeds for, you know, people to watch at home, could have been a problem for them.
John, you're right. Look at all the young witnesses that were actually present at this event. And if we had family members there that were photographed, young individuals that were even coming in support of the prosecution or defense, suddenly they become targets. Online is supposed to be a way for us to be able to tell the truth, to share narratives, to make arguments, but it has now turned into a very negative place where individuals are getting doxxed for their public opinions. Death threats are being made, people's addresses, which are very easy to find, John, online. So this was another way for the judge to protect the integrity and the outcome of the trial. And as we continue to see what online mobs are doing, I think it's distasteful and it's very destructive for our legal system. And this is why, again, I applaud this judge for coming out and treating this legal case and ensuring that due process occurred for both sides. I mean, the judge did not have to say that Mr. Anthony was a nice guy. He said that because that's how he felt through the trial. But at the end of the day, the jurors still made a decision, guilty as charged.
I want to turn our attention quickly to the Tyler Robinson case in Utah. He's accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk. His defense team is trying to get the death penalty taken off the table. And it's interesting to me because Robinson is accused of imposing the death penalty on Charlie Kirk, but apparently he's not willing to face the possibility of it himself.
It's a very
Now, I just had to sit there and listen to her. She is so mad and butthurt, clearly. Okay, did y'all hear that? She kept calling people online mobs. And I'm sorry, but she must be talking about MAGA, like I said, talking about an online mob. Lady, sit down somewhere, okay? Nick Knight says, I hate Fox News. Yeah, I do too, but I just wanted to hear what they were going to say because I clearly knew they were going to be butthurt and bent out of shape because they painted and pushed so many false narratives during the entirety of the Carmelo Anthony trial. Before, during, and after is what they did, okay? That's what they did. They certainly did. So with that all being said, you know, justice hopefully will prevail in the remainder of the legal process. Okay? Yeah, they are super mad. And I was super mad last night, like I told you all, when I started reading through those transcripts. Okay, that was absolutely crazy, some of the stuff that was in there. Anyway, no surprise though, nonetheless. So with that all being said, I'm about to be out of here now. I want to tell you all to remain vigilant, keep your heads on the swivel, and pay attention to what's going on because, you know, they're still out here hanging black folk. And then yesterday, OG Patrice sent me a video where they posted they hung I guess it's supposed to be like an image to make it look like a body was hanging from a tree. Hold on, let me just pull it up. These people are something else. Okay, this was in Vicksburg, Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. Look at this foolishness.
And the wind want to blow it from way down here in Vicksburg. And somebody had the audacity to do a noose up here. I mean, broad daylight with a camera. You can't tell me this ain't prison. It's like the cameras, they see what they want to see. I mean, this is some corrupted, crazy shit. And it's crazy.
Look at that. Okay, I find it all interesting, but they want to say when they see a black person hanging from one of those trees, they want to say that it was self-deletion. Please miss us with it. Okay? They're hanging stuff like that to let us know that they're still doing it. So why do they think we're going to be stupid and sit here and believe that people who look like us are doing this to themselves? Now, mind you, they reported yesterday that the black man who was found, I forget exactly where he was found, but they say that he did that to himself. And they said the family's not denying it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but at the end of the day, if he did do it to himself, that's crazy. I would say that would be a first. Okay, I would say that would be a first, but they didn't show any proof, mind you, that he did it to himself. They just said that he did. Okay, I would like to see some footage or something like that, still shots, anything to verify it. Don't just come out and tell us because that's what they've been telling us consistently since 1981. Okay, so I don't believe the bullshit. Anyway, with that all been said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. I will be back later, so keep your notifications on. And until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
You can't hide from yourself. You notice yourself. You can't hide from yourself. I know your mind going crazy. Yes, that's your conscience eating away at you. Told you to do, you know that we know it's not about race. Well, I wanna see justice prevail because I know the hell you lying. The story don't add up. Subtract the evil grown folks that's hiding the truth. You can't hide from yourself. I know your mind going crazy. That's your conscience eating away at you. scream out loud. Them people lost their son, and you on the run. In your spirit, I hear it. God most high, washed up that tide, and now you can't hide from yourself. No, not about, no, yeah, yeah. The ancestors speaking, and they walking on your soul. You can't hide yourself. You know what was did. The nightmares, the sleepless nights, that's gonna get worse. I see it in your face. Since you wanna get in front of camera, we know what you did last night or daylight.